And welcome back to another episode of the Drunken Cryptids. I'm your host, Matthew. And tonight, believe it or not, I've got in-house with me, Jacob.
What's up, guys?
So we're sitting out here on the outdoor the studio for the Drunken Cryptids, relaxing. We got a little bit cooler weather today, so we're enjoying it. Also, we have our brand new producer in-house with us, Tommy.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Tommy, since you're kind of you already have an episode on here, though, don't you?
I do, yes.
Yeah, and it was called The What again?
The Dress.
That's right. So if you guys haven't listened to the Dress episode yet, I highly recommend it. It's a great episode. But I do want to do some of the front end of the house stuff. Since we are outside, there's going to be some ambient noise, and we do have a cute little one wandering around, so you may hear like a little one talking in the background. And if you do, everybody just run with it. But I want to give a shout out to Blade Media. Dylan, I appreciate all the hard work on the graphic you did for us, man, and the advertisements and the flyer. It's great. Greatly appreciated. You're a wonderful artist, and you definitely should get paid a lot more than you do. We are going to be at the Arkansas Paranormal Expo this October 26th and 27th. We've got a table reserved. We'll be set up. We'll be able to do on-the-spot interviews. We're going to be selling t-shirts and stickers. And I'm proud to say that I've got my first order of t-shirts in. So if you are interested in purchasing a t-shirt, please message me on Facebook or send me an email at drunkencryptids@gmail.com. Excuse me. Facebook is Drunken Cryptids. So we are going to be there for October 26th and 27th. And if you've had an encounter and you want to share your experience, please reach out to us. Email me, drunkencryptids@gmail.com. You can also find me on Facebook. And we are now on Spotify. We are now on iHeartRadio, Amazon, and YouTube. So you can find us on most of your streaming platforms. Please give us a like, give us a 5-star rating. And if you give us a 5-star review, we're going to start doing shout-outs to the 5-star reviews here soon. So, those of you who've been following us from the beginning, I do want to say thank you, guys. To my new listeners, welcome to the Drunken Cryptid family, guys. It's wonderful. But tonight, I'm excited. I finally have my favorite cryptid. I cannot wait to get into the story. It's going to be full of oohs and ahs, and there's some creepy stuff involved. And I believe there's an audio we're going to be listening to. So, but Thomas is coming on board, and Thomas is one of my co-workers, and Thomas found out what I was doing, and we were working together about a month ago, and Thomas said, man, I had this crazy encounter, started telling me about it. Am I right, Thomas?
Yes.
Man, Thomas, welcome to the Drunken Cryptids, man. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming on and sharing your experience with me in the truck. Now I can't wait to share it with everybody else.
No, absolutely.
Oh. So you doing all right tonight? I'm having a Yingling myself, I'll tell you that. Apparently so is Tommy.
Okay.
Yeah, having a beer.
Yeah. I'm actually having a sake, a warm sake.
Oh, sake.
Well, you just made Tommy jealous.
Yeah.
I usually get that when I go get sushi, but man, yes.
Okay, so we actually talked about the sake in the truck today. And like Sammy's mom, whenever we would go out for sushi, she would order sake. Now, I'm not a sake fan. It's like, oh, you gotta try it this time. And to me, sake tastes like rubbing alcohol.
Yes.
I don't know why, but it tastes like warmed up rubbing alcohol. If I was to ever drink rubbing alcohol, I think that's what it would taste like. I don't think I could ever touch rubbing alcohol personally, but that's what I think it would taste like.
You know what? It's very smooth though.
So you're sipping on the warm sake on a warm
Yes, sir.
Arkansas July 1st day.
Yes.
All right, there is nothing wrong with that. Well, I'll tell you what, Thomas, I'm going to go ahead and let you jump on in. I may jump in with a question or two here and there,
Okay.
but man, this is your encounter. Just get into it.
All right. Well, look, the first time that I ever had an encounter with a big fella was back in 2015. And when I say big fella, I'm speaking of Bigfoot. I was working for a portable restroom company, and I was in Sedalia, Colorado, and I heard the prior week to that, me able to get a recording, I was out there and I heard these strange noises, and I didn't think nothing of it. But during this time, the sound started getting closer to me, and then it was starting to get dark outside. My back is turned because I'm cleaning the restrooms, and so I didn't think nothing of it. I just went on down the mountain and went home. So the next week, I'm servicing that area again. I decided, okay, I'm gonna see if I can do a recording, catch this on, record this. And sure enough, I'm hearing these sounds. And first, I thought it might have been coyotes.
Okay, but, well, Thomas, I don't want to interrupt you real quick though, but are these the sounds that you sent me earlier?
Yes, absolutely. And this is the second time around when I'm, so for me, hearing the sounds of prior to.
Okay, so
week.
you heard the sounds twice.
Yes.
Okay, now on the audio you sent me, it sounds like did you piece it together, make it one audio? So are these two separate recordings?
No, this is one recording.
Okay, because there's a real quiet spot in the middle. That's why I was asking.
Yeah. These are real recording, because I believe I was pausing every time, pausing it so that I don't go over the limit of recording, so that I could be able to send it.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to have to shave anything off.
Right, and there's an airplane flying overhead.
What's that?
We have an airplane flying overhead, so apparently you couldn't hear me over the airplane.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I can hear you perfectly.
My house happens to be right in the flight path of the Little Rock Airport.
Oh, okay.
Right. So
That's
real
great.
quick though, so before we get any further, I want to play these sounds you sent us.
Okay.
And then I want you to go into describing and what you heard and everything on the scene. Okay, so are you ready?
Okay. Yes.
All right, here we go. That is creepy.
Yes, it was. I mean, it was creepy when I was doing it too, because it was getting late again, and it was just, I'm really afraid. I was really afraid of that area to have to, so I started trying to service that area kind of early, because I didn't want to, I'm in a truck that's, a Zuzu that's servicing the units, and I don't know if you guys know what the little Zuzus look like that have the tanks on the back of them.
It's
And
usually the cab over trucks.
yes.
Yeah,
And
the typical little the Suzu cab over cargo trucks that you can put the tanks on for
Yes.
potties or.
Right,
Yep.
right. And that truck wasn't really all that big, so I felt I felt small in that truck as opposed to one of the bigger portable restroom trucks. And it just, I got those sounds, and I just kind of like got up out of there, because I was like, this truck, the big fella can knock this over if he wanted to. If he was decide to charge me, I'm not high up enough for him, to protect myself if he decided to come at me. So I mean, I don't know what I know that coyotes and stuff live in dens, and I know that there's a lot of them live in the open, in dens that they make up, not in a wooded area like that. I don't see coyotes just roaming the woods, especially in the mountain terrain. So,
okay, so with these sounds though, so this is the second time you heard those sounds, right?
Yes.
So what time of year was this?
I believe it was around April when I was, and this was back in 2015.
Right. So springtime there in Colorado.
Yes.
And if anybody's been out in that part of the country, I was stationed at Fort Carson for a number of years, just south of there, about an hour south.
Yes, that's Sedalia is,
It's kind of in between Denver and Colorado Springs.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep, I was down there at Fort Carson, outside Colorado Springs, and if no one's ever been to the Rocky Mountains, and I'm sure Thomas will back me on this one, and me being from Utah originally, growing up in the Rockies, and Thomas being from Colorado and growing up in the Rockies, the Rocky Mountains, you guys, are so magical and so mysterious. And when you get a chance to go out there, if you get a chance to go, I recommend it. And when you get up there, you will believe everything cryptid lives there. Am I wrong?
You're absolutely right. It's amazing out there. You know, the landscape is just, the terrain is just, it's like you said, magical. It's breathtaking.
I love it.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, Jacob has actually been out in Colorado recently, haven't you, Jacob?
Yeah, I have. It was, I believe it was back in 2020 or 2021. I went to Colorado Springs. Yeah, I mean, you talk about breathtaking out there.
Pikes Peak.
Oh, yeah.
Pikes Peak is beautiful. I loved it. I loved it. So, second
That's
time
up
you
there
heard the
by
sounds.
Colorado Springs.
Yep. Second time you heard the sounds in April. But what time of day was it? Do you remember?
It was getting towards the evening because that was my last stops. Prior to getting ready to head home for the day. So I want to say it was around 6:30, 7 o'clock.
Okay.
So it's starting to get dark in the Rockies. That area is starting to get dark. And I'm on gravel roads and stuff. I'm not in residential areas and stuff. I'm servicing portable restrooms that's up the hill, up the mountains, like on gravel roads and stuff, where they have like cottages and cabins and stuff like that.
Well, so were you near a national forest, you remember?
What's that?
Were you near a national forest?
Well, now I'm not sure if the national forest is that close to it, but I was in hilly terrain, because I do remember climbing up. Not to the point where I'm seeing snow, like not that high up, just kind of like the foothill area.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, the foothills. The foothills of the Rockies.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so for those of you who aren't from the Rocky Mountain area, so on both sides of the Rocky Mountains, before you get into the mountains, we call it the foothills. It's actual mountains, but it's called the foothills. And that was the last area. So when the mountains start getting snow, and you see the foothills getting snow, snow's about to drop on top of you.
Right.
If you're in the valley. So, and I lived in the valley.
Yes.
So, yep. I was in the Wasatch Front, northern Utah. That's where I'm from. God's country.
Yes.
Well, go on. So we got sounds, and you told me earlier you think you saw something out there?
No, you know what? I never did see anything, but I can tell you that there's actually, it should have been a little bit more to that recording, but because the sound started getting a little bit closer to me, and like I said, at that point in time, I'm trying to leave. I'm seeing, signs. They even have signs where in Sedalia where I was at, Bigfoot signs, just like you would see a stop sign. They have signs up, and if I'm not mistaken, it's a protected animal.
Well, so I want to say it's either Washington or Oregon has actually put it on the list, protected species. Somebody Google that real quick. We're going to Google that real quick. Yeah, it's either Washington, Colorado, or California. It might be one of the three. Now think about it, they might have put it on there. Jacob right now is pulling up Google and researching it, and he'll come at us with an answer here in a minute. But I do know a lot of people put the signs up because they find it comical. So, like, down in England, south of England here in Arkansas, there's a couple signs up to show on your drive, and they'll show, like, a Bigfoot crossing sign.
Yeah, okay, so, I mean, I can see people doing that, but, you know, it's just the area that you're in, you know, it's not a lot of people that travel that area, those roads and stuff, except for, you know, the people that live in the area, you know, so it's not a lot of people that's going to see that, you know, and,
Washington State is illegal to kill a Bigfoot.
That's what I thought.
Oh, it's a county. It's Scamonia County in Washington. It considers itself a Bigfoot refuge, and it is illegal to kill a Bigfoot.
As of April 1st, 1969.
Look at that. See? More proof is out there, folks. More proof is out there. The government acknowledges it.
And that's amazing. You know, but, you know, leading up to all, I mean, saying all this, you know, I had a second experience, you know, and this was really, really creepy because, you know, I'm like, okay, now, am I being followed? Because I was out at the Jacksonville Air Force Base one night, and I was back. I don't know if you guys know where have ever been on that Air Force Base, but there's a set of stables that's on that base.
I know it quite well.
Yeah, there's some stables on that base, and it's pretty far. You know, it's pretty far into the Air Force Base. So I'm pumping some units out and everything, and out of nowhere, a rock the size of a bowling ball hits the top of the truck. Now, I'm in a bigger truck. You know, I come out here and start working for a portable restroom service. You know,
so hold on. So you had a boulder the size of a bowling ball
hit the top of the truck. Off of the top of the truck, yeah.
Man, that would be creepy.
And I'm like...
Did you have the pump running?
I'm like, what the F? You know,
yeah.
what was, you know, and I'm looking around, and, you know, I do see, it seems like after that happens, it seems like I do see a little bit of movement in the trees, the tree lines and stuff. You know, I'm not that for sure.
Okay, so let me paint the picture for everybody real quick about the stables, okay? So the stables at the Little Rock Airport, when you to get to the stables, you have to drive down a dirt road.
Yes.
And then it ends at the stables area, and you're going to go down the dirt road for probably about 4, maybe 500 meters, and before you hit the stables area. And it's wooded on both sides, heavy woods on both sides of the dirt road. Then you get the stables area, and where the unit, the porta potty is located at, is right by the actual stables. You have stables to your right, you have stables in front of you, and then to your left you have a pasture with some open ones, and this kind of gated off area. But the thing about it is, where the unit's located at, you're a good you're probably good 75 to 100 meters from the wood line.
Right.
So this thing had to be massively strong to hurl a bowling ball sized boulder at the porta potty truck.
Yes, absolutely. You know, because I you know, and I'm trying to rule out some things now. You know, I'm thinking, okay, well, could that have been a meteorite that made it to the ground? But you know, I don't think so, because rocks of that size, you know, burn up in the atmosphere. You know, so I don't think that this was a rock the size of a bowling ball. You know, rocks. I know the rocks hit the planet all the time, but they burn up, and if they make it to the ground, that size, you know, I just don't see rocks of that size making it to the ground. It had to be a massive meteor to go through the atmosphere and burn up.
And it probably would have destroyed the truck.
Right, you know, and it didn't. You know, it wasn't. It was like, I mean, it just came out of nowhere and hit the top of the truck. You know, and I, like I said, I'm in a bigger truck than that Isuzu that I was in Colorado.
Well, real quick, what time of year was this one?
You know what? I want to say this was in August, around August, because you know it was and this was in 2017.
So 2 years after the encounters there
in Colorado, absolutely. And you know, and then I have I guess what we call a brain fart.
Right. We call it the same thing in the military.
I believe that the big fella is attracted to the pump and the foul smell that the pump gives off.
You know, okay, so I'll be honest with you. So, you know, now you mention that, that's actually not a bad theory. So if you've ever been around a porta potty truck, folks, and me and Thomas are around them every single day, when you turn the pump on, it emits the exhaust on the pump, and you're going to smell what's inside the pump.
Right.
And maybe he's not so much as attracted to the smell, but maybe he's more curious to the smell, and possibly maybe he's offended by the smell because it's a bunch of human waste.
Yes, it could be. It could be, and then the noise that the pump is giving off.
But now also, you got to remember too, though, a lot of people do say that Bigfoot emits a skunk-like smell.
Yes.
So maybe he thinks that there's another. So maybe he thinks there's another from the smell. Another squatch, but I mean, it's our waste. I mean, you think that he would know our smell? You know what I mean?
Yes. If it had any intelligence about itself, you know, I think that it knew what it was doing. It threw a rock at me because, you know, I had that pump on, and you know, and
what?
Like you said, he was a I don't see a human throwing a rock the size to hit the top of the truck. You know.
Not from the wood line. There's nobody going to throw that. Arnold Schwarzenegger's not out there. I mean, let's just be honest. He's really not. And from the wood line. Okay, so real quick, let me ask you a question. Do you have an idea what direction it came in from? From like the road area or from?
If I was so when I was parked, the truck was parked, it was parked going back towards like the runway and stuff like that. You know where the runway is out there?
Yeah, the runway's all the way. Yeah, so the runway is is pretty far away from the stables though.
Right, absolutely, but that's the way the truck was pointed.
So the truck is pointed in that direction. So like you're getting ready to leave.
Yes.
Okay, and it bounced off. Okay, so they came from. They came from hang on a second. So did it come in from the left or the right?
Okay, so I'm on the same side of the truck as where the pump is and everything. You know, your
so that's
water.
on the left side of the truck. Yep.
Yeah, so it came in from the other side.
Okay, then it came in from the stables, because from that side over there, that's where the horse stables are at. I know, right? Yeah, the horse stables are right there, off to the right. That is a far throw.
Yeah, I mean, it couldn't. Like I said,
is that where you saw the movement at too, or was the movement in front of you?
No, the movement was in front of me, because I mean, the way the truck was pointed, there's the tree lines and stuff right there in the front of me. Now, it could have the rock could have came from the front, but it bounced off, and it didn't really bounce over me, but it just bounced off to the kind of going towards the rear of the truck on the side, same side as the pumps and stuff are on.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm pulling it up on Google. Jacob pulled it up on Google Maps for me right now, the area. So I'm going to so the unit is sitting right here in this little patch of trees. So these are the thick trees. So he's facing this way to leave because this road takes you down back towards the airfield. And these stables, these corrals, these are corrals right here. And these are the stables over here. He's facing this direction. He's on this side. So the rut came in from over here. That is crazy. And then you saw the movement. I can see the movement from in front of you, but what if they were passing through, you fired up the pump, started working, they caught a bit of the smell, scared them, the juvenile freaks out and throws a rock.
You know what? I couldn't even picture a juvenile Sasquatch throwing a rock like this. This had to be a big fella himself. It had to be a bigger something big to have tossed. Because, like I said, that I can barely. It's hard for me to roll a bowling ball down a lane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let alone, if you try to throw a bowling ball, how far are you going to get it?
Yeah, true.
So like I said, I'm trying to rule out everything. And, and it was just, I'm like, man, I can't believe it. And I immediately went home after that and told my old lady, and she was like, man, that is crazy because it seems like it's just following you.
Well, also on the following thing, so believe it or not, there is some theories out there in the Bigfoot world where if you have had an encounter, for some reason you're opened up now to them, they know this, and it's really rare for one person to have just one encounter. It seems like if they have an encounter, they have multiple encounters. For my personal story, I encountered, I believe, a paw print, a handprint, in 1992 at the basin of Hellhole Lake in the Uintas. And then years later, about 10 years later, I had another encounter at Fort Hood, Texas, with a boulder being thrown at me on guard duty. And
oh wow!
Yeah, so I don't talk too much about my experiences on here because it's not about the show's not about me; it's about you guys. My story's out there. It's on a couple of the podcasts, but having that rock thrown at you. Speaking from my personal experience, it's a creepy feeling.
Yeah, it is. Because you're out there at nighttime. Now the porta potty business, it doesn't require that you be out there at nighttime and everything. But that's the time that I chose to, clean the base. The Air Force bases at night. Because it's a little bit cooler. Not as much people running around and stuff, and you get your work done and turn on your pumps and stuff where you're not really disturbing anybody. And that's the time that I chose to do the Jacksonville Air Force bases at that time.
Okay, now you may have said the time earlier, but do you remember about what time of night it was?
Oh, it was pretty late. I think it was the last, it was dark. I know that. I used to do it in the nighttime.
Okay, so
super early in the morning.
So in August in Arkansas, it being dark, I'm going to go with it'll be after 9 p.m.
Yes, it definitely had to be after 9 p.m. Because I could have, you can do as long as you get your work done, you pretty much go on that base at that time.
Yeah, so you think maybe between probably about 10 to 11?
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I get that. And during the week, it's going to be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm on the Air Force base once a week out there. So, and I service that unit at the stables. And so when I go there Wednesday, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be studying. I'm going to take pictures. I'm going to send them to Tommy so Tommy can upload some of the pictures the direction.
Yes.
I'm going to try and get my truck parked the same way that your truck was described to me. And
Yes.
yeah, and
I mean,
I'll send
because
you pictures.
your truck is the equivalent of what my truck looked like back then. You know, it was about the same size.
Yeah, so for the
you know.
audience, the truck that I'm in holds 1,500 gallons of waste, 500 gallons
Yes.
of fresh water. So it's not a small truck. It's a pretty big
No.
truck.
Absolutely, we have to step up to get in it.
Yeah, there's 2 steps to get into this, you guys. So, I mean, it's a tall truck. So this thing threw a rock from these woods, and that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy to me too.
Oh, Thomas, you just reminded me. So last year, I even posted a picture of this. Servicing the stables. I was driving, and on the dirt road was a neat pile of rocks. I gotta try and find this somewhere on Facebook. I posted it.
Yeah,
It's remember
Yeah,
I posted
you
it.
should tell me about that.
And one of the guys I worked with, he goes, "Aren't you supposed to be working?" He made the comment on there. But this pile of rocks stood out to me. As stacked up rocks like you would see like in the rivers and stuff like that.
Like somebody just stacked
Yeah,
them
someone
up,
just stacked
not
them
like
up.
balancing.
Yeah,
just like
stacked up kind of little balancing act. I thought it was the neatest thing in the world. That is
Yeah, it's
crazy.
That just kind of tells me that, you know, at that time it's not a lot of traffic going through there, and something had time to, you know, sit down and I was playing. You know, that was, you know, it was playing and just stacking rocks, you know, making piles of rocks.
So what's creepy, so that whole area outside the base, everything around that base is absolutely heavily wooded. And what's funny is that so you're so close, everybody, to the interstate, to the town of Jacksonville.
Yeah, right,
But at the
right.
same time, you're not.
Right, you're there because
On the northern part of the Air Force Base, headed up towards Cabot and out there towards
Macon.
yeah, so the Macon
Valonia.
area, Valonia is all heavily wooded.
yes, and you know what? It gets dark out there. I mean, extremely dark.
Yeah, I've never been out there at night, so
Oh.
but I believe you 100%.
It does.
Yeah, it gets dark out there, and it gets dark enough to where you can see. You know, it's not. You know how a lot of cities and stuff obscures the stars because it's so bright. The city is so bright and everything, you can't see the stars. But when you go out somewhere, like say for instance traveling in Kansas, you know, down the highway where it's nothing, it's just black. You can pretty much see the universe. I mean the whole galaxy. You can see even the dust.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
You know, I don't know if anybody's ever paid that any attention, but I have. You can actually see the dust from the galactic center, if, you know, looking up at the stars.
Yeah, I want to talk to you before we end the episode. I want you to talk a little bit about your hobby because you're actually and so which is really really neat. But the rock thing, I mean, out there on the base, I mean. The funny part is, so I looked at the BFRO sometime, I think, last year, looking for sightings near here, and the only sighting I saw close by was over off of Camp Robinson. It was like early in the morning. Somebody saw it leaving Camp Robinson or running. I can't remember the full details, but it was either entering Camp Robinson or leaving Camp Robinson, the training areas, out towards Gravel Ridge. So for those of you from Arkansas in this area, you'll know what they were talking about. But that was about the only thing I really saw. I do think, and I'm a firm believer that, you know, the big fella, Bigfoot, he is down here. And I don't think they're as big here as they are out Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, Montana, Washington, Oregon, Northern California.
Right.
It's hotter here, and there's more competition for the food here.
Yeah.
You know, if you think about it, every hunter here in Arkansas, they have their stand set up. They go out and do corn. They do everything. So when the deers come in for season, you know, they jump, you know, they know. Bigfoot knows as well. But again, if you ask every hunter, though, they will hit a deer. The deer will bounce into the woods, follow a blood trail, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
So Bigfoot is an equal opportunity hunter. He's a predator as well, but he's also using us to help get him prey.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know.
Yeah, I mean,
now that's a theory that I have. It's not. You know, of course, I'm not a Bigfoot expert. I will never claim to be a Bigfoot expert, and I'm always open to theories. And that's the cool thing about doing the show, is you get a chance to share theories. I mean, what do you think? What do you think it was out there?
you know, me personally, I just can't see an animal of that size, just living off of berries and fruits and stuff like that. It's, if it has any of our genes or anything like that, it's a meat eater too, as well.
Yep.
And
I don't know. So, what do you think that took place out there? I want to know what's your theories and thoughts on what happened out there at the stables.
I like I said, I think that it got pissed off because of the noise of the pumps, and it got irritated by the smell, and it wanted me away from there, so it tossed a boulder at me, intentionally trying to hit me, but it hit the boulder, hit the truck.
Well, so one thing I've heard is that generally when they're throwing stuff at us, they're not trying to hit us, they're trying to warn us. Because it seems like they know, for some reason, if they hurt us, it's going to draw a lot of attention in. So they'd rather scare us. And their aim, they should be like playing Major League Baseball. Let's just be honest. Because there's so many encounters of people sitting at trees and having pebbles tossed to them. Rocks tossed to them to get them away.
Okay, so with you saying that, I'm thinking about the numerous other times that I was there servicing that area, servicing them toilets out there, and I'm trying to think about it because I service that area a lot, and with the pumps being on, I never heard any whooping sounds or anything like that, or
right.
I just hear, out of the, that particular night, I think I upset it because, I don't know, it's just mind-boggling to me that something like this. And that's an Air Force base, and I haven't heard anybody talk about anything, there's a lot of people, there's people that's out there, the military's out there, that probably doing training and stuff like that, and I haven't heard anything as far as anybody seeing anything, and if they did, maybe they're just keeping it to themselves because they don't want the attention, they don't want the media involved, trying to come to the base and stuff like that. So,
well, Thomas, you're gonna love this next part we're gonna talk about real quick, okay?
Okay.
My encounter that I had with rock throwing happened on a military base.
Okay, so
your encounter happens on a military base. There's a guy out there who. His name is Nick Orton. He's got a book called Tales from the Grid. He's got 2 books. Tales from the Grid Square. And he has, those books are so full of Bigfoot encounters and it's from service members and veterans who have written into him encounters. And there's so many Bigfoot encounters. Washington State, and like on every major military installation. So my theory is, and one of the theories that I have, is that they know these military bases are refuges. They can hang out there.
Protection.
They're protected.
Sanctuaries.
You have to have special permits to hunt. You have to have special permission to go on the base. You have to have special permission to do everything. So they know they can go there and hide out and be safe from, the local Joe Blow.
I never even given that any thought because I mean it is protected. Only so many people can get in there. You have to go through a checkpoint to get on that base. You just can't drive up on it. Even with that being said, even me, you have to go you have to go if you want to do the base, you have to go there and get. I don't know what it's called, certified to be able to come on that base.
You have to go through a quick background check. You have to go through, and then you have to tell them where you're going.
Yes.
So like I have an ID card, so I'm okay. So I could get on the base. I just drive on and off. I mean, they don't bother me at all when I'm working, or even for personal. So, but I know for a fact that whenever I take somebody new on there, who's not. A card holder, we have to go through the steps. They have to go through the registration, everything to make sure you're legit. And so you're not just, Joe Blow down the street's not going to be coming on the military bases at all.
Right. You just can't get on them bases. You have to get checked out before, and that's why a lot of people don't want to go through the hassle of going to the base and especially in the porta potty business, because you have to, if you have any kind of anything on you, you're going to find out right there.
Yep. I've had a couple of guys with me and they were not able to get on. But I will so I'm going to throw this at the table here real quick, and I'm going to get Jacob and Tommy's opinion on this as well. So the theory that we're running right now, gentlemen, is that Bigfoot is using military bases as a refuge because they know they're not going to have a million eyes on them at once. Like, Jacob, you just pulled up a stat that says there's 1.2 million hunters here in the state of Arkansas. And Arkansas is a small state. I mean, the population of Los Angeles is larger than the population of Arkansas. So you think about it, 1.2 million people in the state of Arkansas are registered hunters. How many of those are not registered? We all know somebody, let's be honest, who's not. So what if they are using these military bases that we have in the country because it is a protected land area, which is safer than a national forest? And what if they're using the bases
to go hide out during seasons?
What do you think, Jacob?
I mean, that's a good theory. I mean, very good theory. I mean, there's only select few people that can hunt on a national base, and I mean, you can still get on there as a civilian hunt, but I mean, it's very time-consuming to do it. But at the same time, I mean, you still got a lot of land on some of these military bases that still, I mean, you can't go there restricted just due to ordnance. Unexploded ordnance out there, like bullets or something like that, or hand grenades that you can't go as a civilian. But I mean, Bigfoot ain't gonna care about that.
I think he can see it. I think Bigfoot can see almost like the Predator from the movies can see. Like, if you remember in the movie Predator, and they set up all the modern traps, the claymores and the flares and everything to try and
evade him.
Yeah, and it avoided it all because it could see it. What if? So I'll get to the Predator theory in a minute. Tommy, what do you think?
Oh, about the hiding out on the base?
Yeah.
No, I believe that he's smart. I mean, he's smarter than we think. Missing link for a reason. So he's got all that out there he can hunt and less traffic for any interference.
All right. So we're all kind of in agreement on that one. Thomas, what's your thought on that? The Bigfoot using all the military bases.
I believe that a lot of people don't have a concept of how big these bases are. I mean, these bases are heavily wooded, and this is a place that they could be safe and protected, as only these bases, especially these bases here in Arkansas. I haven't seen bases this heavily wooded. And
Fort Lewis, Fort Polk, Fort Benning. I mean, Fort Hood even. I mean, Fort Carson. Well, no, not really. Fort Carson. Yeah, well, Pinion Canyon at Fort Carson. That's a pretty good wooded area. And there's some good training areas at Carson we go to. But it's right there at the foothills. Then there's Pinion Canyon out there, which is gorgeous. But I mean, I fully think that Bigfoot's using this, and then I'm gonna go. So, my predator theory, and I will preach this, and I will die on this hill, the Predator Hill. I firmly believe the writers of the Predator movie had a Bigfoot encounter. They based the Predator off of that because Bigfoot can cloak. He can hide in the. I believe Bigfoot can cloak. I think the Bigfoot is able to cloak. I think Bigfoot is able to make himself disappear to a point the same way that an octopus can blend in to the corral. The same way that it can do that stuff. And I honestly believe that Bigfoot shares a lot of similarities with that. You know, to where I hate the word evolve, and I'm going to go with environmental adaptation. To where Bigfoot is able to do an environmental adaptation to blend in to his surroundings, break up his profile so we don't see his profile, and make himself quote unquote disappear. And I believe that the Predator from the movies is based upon that. I believe these guys had an encounter. Now the funny part is I looked it up. Their story is they wrote this on the beach. They were sitting on the beach together, as two brothers. They wrote it on the beach.
Oh, you talking about the Predator?
The movie Predator, yeah. They wrote the story on the beach. And the original one, they had Jean-Claude Van Damme dressed up as some weird, creepy-looking thing.
Yeah, until they changed it.
Until they changed
at the very
it.
end,
Mhm.
yeah. But when you're talking about how he cloaks and all that, but at the same time, if you look at Bigfoot and all that, if he's 7-8 foot tall and he's got all this shaggy hair, it's like wearing an all-natural ghillie suit. You gotta think there's gonna be sticks stuck in his hair, leaves. I mean, he's gonna blend in almost everywhere he goes.
I'm going with cloaking, though. There's actual... So, I want to say it was the big... there's so many Bigfoot shows out there. And it's the one that I like. They were just in Alaska. And the season before they were in Alaska, they were... they caught actually a thermal... I believe it was a thermal, and it disappears.
Oh, yeah, I
Expedition
saw
X.
that. Yeah.
Was it Expedition X?
Nope,
No,
it wasn't Josh Gates.
No, they got a thermal camera, and they were watching this little red dot go into the woods, walk, kind of sit still. Then it looked like it goes behind a rock stop, and you
Just
never see it
disappears.
again.
Just vanishes. Fascinating. Man. Thomas, what's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I remember watching and I can't recall if this was Finding Bigfoot or what this was, but I seen a little episode, a little show where they had actually caught a Bigfoot and in a cage, and I can remember hearing it singing, and it was so creepy. It was like it was trapped, but it was singing like a humming like singing sound, and then it escaped, and that's when the show went off, and that was real creepy to me. So
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day and trying to figure out what show that was on.
It's where I can't. I keep on wanting to say it was Finding Bigfoot, but I don't remember. I don't think it was, because I would remember the one guy, the bigger guy that's on that show, that he's got long hair and
Oh, okay. So it was a reenactment they showed, and because there is a story out there from the Old West where they actually they arrested a Bigfoot. They arrested this Bigfoot, and it was like, yeah, same thing. He got away. So I think I know what you're talking about. But there's a story out there from the Old West where they capture a Bigfoot and arrested it. I don't know how you would arrest it. How do you arrest Sasquatch? That's what I want to know.
Right.
What inspires you to say, I'm going to arrest Sasquatch?
My biggest question: what handcuffs out there are gonna fit his wrists?
Maybe he came willingly. Maybe he thought they were like going to feed him or something. I don't know. I don't know at all. But
you know, I
go ahead.
and also, you know, I have never encountered any footprints or you know any handprints or anything, or even you know what they call it, done their droppings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've never encountered any of that. You know, I think that I would be too scary to even go try looking for stuff like that. But
Well, I will tell you that we are putting together an expedition to go up to Northwest Arkansas sometime this fall. They're going on a little expedition looking for Bigfoot and the Ozark Howler. So
that would be fun. I mean, that was kind of creepy, but you know, I think that would be interesting.
yeah, I'm actually really, really excited about it. So it's an opportunity that we have. So excuse me. Yeah, you live in Little Rock, don't you?
What was that?
You live in Little Rock, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah, he got hit by that tornado last year.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
yeah, he's one of the tornado victims, like a bunch of us were. But Thomas, man, this has been a great episode, man. What do you think?
Man, I think it was
We're not done yet. We're not done recording yet.
I think it was wonderful. You know, I'm glad I got the chance to share that because you know what, I've really never told anybody that story except you know my girlfriend and you. That's about the only you know. And
well, I tell you what, it was very brave of you to want to come on the show, and very big of you to want to come on the show and share your experience, and I'm grateful to be able to have the opportunity to share your story out there. And Thomas, it's been a blast, man. Now, you're okay, though, if we take the audio that we played, and Tommy, the producer, is going to go through and play with it and clean it on up, and we're going to put it at the end of the episode. So before the outro music starts, we're going to play that cleaned up and see how it sounds. And when I get it cleaned up, though, I'm going to send it to you so you can hear it cleaned up.
Okay, yeah, that's outstanding. I love to hear that, you know, because I mean that was some weird stuff, you know.
When I sent the Tommy, the first thing he sent back was, "That is some creepy sounds."
Yeah, you know, and of course, you know, I was recording that. I was trying to record that with the windows cracked, you know. And,
now we know that you were hiding in the cab of the truck trying to record this.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what though? At least you were smart enough to break your phone out and do a recording. Because a lot of people in these encounters, they get really scared and they won't break it out. So, and a lot of people seem to forget that they have a recording device on them. Which is, you know what? Honestly, when you think about it, for most people's eyewitness encounters who have their phones, they're either in their pockets, stuff like that. So when Bigfoot pops up, they're in shock, and the last thing they're thinking of is grabbing their phone to take pictures.
Well, you know, like I said, I heard that sound the prior week, and so when I go back to the service area the next week, you know, I was prepared. You know, I've tried to be prepared. You know, and you know that's the only thing that I could think of at the time is okay. Now I'm gonna record this to see, you know, so my girl can hear it, because you know I don't think she's believing me.
I get it. I understand completely.
Yeah.
But at the same time, about your freaking auto recording and all that, and I'm a average hunter and all here in Arkansas at the same time. If I heard that in my tree stand, yeah, I'd be climbing down my tree and headed back to the cabin.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that would be wanting me to clean my pants.
You know, so I'm just trying to get out of there, you know, and I'm on a rock road, gravel road and stuff, trying to get down the hill. So, I don't know if a lot of people have had the opportunity to, you know, be in the Rocky Mountains and stuff like that, but if you do that, I mean, it's an experience because it's breathtaking, plus, you know, it's horrifying as well.
I love it. I'll be honest, I love living in Arkansas, but the Rockies will always be home, and I miss them every day. Well, Thomas, man, I appreciate you coming on the show, and it's been a pleasure. It really has been.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me share that.
Not a problem, brother. Not a problem. Thank you for coming on. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to another episode of the Drunken Cryptids. As soon as you get done hearing my voice, you're going to hear a cleaned up version of that audio that Thomas was nice enough to send to us. Don't forget, we are going to be at the Arkansas Paranormal Expo on October 26th and 27th. A quick shout out to Gunner. Gunner, man, I appreciate the hard work you've been putting in on the video side of the house. Tommy, you're doing a great job on the audio side. You guys together are like the dynamic duo, and I wouldn't be where I'm at right now without you guys, and much appreciated for the work. Don't forget to give us a like and a share, you guys. Give us a 5-star rating. The more you do that helps bump up the algorithm, gets us out there even more. The more that we're out there, the more encounters I'm able to share with you guys. We all want to hear the encounters. We all want to figure out what's going on out there. And again, you guys, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And make sure I get some of those t-shirts.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, and I have t-shirts on. Oh, yes. The first batch of t-shirts are coming in. And I've got the stickers in. Go to the Facebook page and you'll see pictures of the shirts, you guys. Thank you very much for listening in, and we'll see you next time.
What the hell is that?